Hi. Today let's talk about deep listening. So this is again a video for helping you to recap the whole conversations that we have had, whole set of conversations we have had about deep listening. So as you know, the way we start is firstly to understand that human beings are not designed for listening. We are designed for opinions. We are designed to make judgments. We're not designed for listening. Once you get that sorted out, that whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, is all programmed by our past, all programmed by the world of opinions and judgments that we are living in. And that's what we call as downloading. So you're continuously non-stop downloading, default mechanism. Nothing wrong with it. That's the human design. And like I say, you don't get upset if you're not 12 feet tall. You shouldn't get upset with that you're not designed for listening. That's the human design. Now, once we realize that we are not designed for listening, then we realize then the listening is an active phenomena. It's a conscious phenomena. Either we will actively listen, consciously listen with sincere efforts, we would listen. Otherwise, we wouldn't be listening. We would be doing the default listening, which we call as downloading. Now, the first level of deep listening is what I call as factual listening. The factual listening happens when you notice your voice of judgment, voice of cynicism, and put it aside and operate with curiosity. Oh, let me hear, let me understand, let me get a new perspective. Can I listen to it newly? Right? So when you bring in curiosity, that's the time listening begins. Another way to say that, no curiosity, no listening. And mostly, the way we have been educated is we think having the answers is important. What we don't realize is the answers don't have much power. The questions have a lot of power. Because that's where you get to learn, you get to see new things, right? So access is curiosity. Okay, what is my employee saying? What are they really going through? What are my staff members saying? What are my customers saying? What are my other stakeholders saying? Vendors saying? What's happening in the industry? Right? Same way with your family members, you can look at. So operating with curiosity instead of I should have the answer or I know the answer. Because if you know, then you cannot know. If you really want to know, then you have to operate with curiosity. So that's the starting point. And if you practice that, master that ongoingly, and I don't know how many years it's going to take, but it's going to take day in, day out practice. Then the next level is what we call as open heart listening, empathic listening. Factual listening is also what you can call as open mind listening. And just coming back to factual listening, one of the jokes on the planet is saying human beings have open mind. That's not possible. We have to open our mind from time to time. There's no default open mind. Nobody on the planet. It's not personal. That's human design. Now, when you look at open heart, what does it mean? We have to open our heart. Again, it's not default. It's not a default open heart person. No, we have to consciously open our heart. What does it take to open our heart? We have to look at and notice and acknowledge the cynicism that we have. Because every time you open your heart, you trust somebody, you get having an emotional bond with somebody, there is a risk you will get hurt. And that's why we close our heart. But to take that risk and to open your heart and to allow an emotional bond, a human bond to be created. Otherwise, we are just transactional machines. You give me this, I give you this, and it's all transaction. And that's what creates the whole lonely planet that we talk about. So you want to have a meaningful life, a fulfilling life, and you want to have partnerships, you want to have collaboration, you want to provide leadership, you need to bring in that human connect. Right? And in the AI world, that is the only difference that is going to be there. Otherwise, everything else, AI will find a way to do it. So really looking at open heart, compassion, right? So giving up your voice of cynicism and operating with compassion. Compassion is not sympathy. So it's important to understand. We are not taking pity on somebody. We're not taking sympathy on somebody. Compassion is willingness to give up looking from our perspective for some time and being willing to see the world from others' eyes, being willing to see life from others' eyes, being willing to see the situations from others' eyes. Like, oh, how does my staff see this situation? How do they feel it? How does the customer see this? How does the industry see this? How do my family members see it? Like willing to see from others' eyes. That's compassion. Now, it's not, nobody's saying your point of view is wrong. There are 8 billion points of view, all are valid. So can you expand yourself to include multiple points of view? So that's the second level of deep listening. So factual listening and empathic listening, open mind listening and open heart listening. As you practice this, then the next level that you can graduate to is what we call as the generative listening or open will listening. The open will listening means you're willing to see life differently. You're willing to try out different things. So what is the enemy here? Enemy is our voice of fear. Our fear stops us. Our fear gets us stuck to the past. It doesn't allow us to see things differently. It doesn't allow us to do things differently. So when you can recognize your voice of fear and then go beyond that and bring in courage to let go of the past and let come the future. New ways of doing things, new ways of looking at it, new paradigms, new perspectives. If you're not doing that, then you get stuck into what you already know and what you already have, and you are prime candidate for disruption. And your company becomes the prime candidate for disruption. So if you want to go with the times, you want to sense the future, you want to build something for the future, then it's important that you develop the habit of going beyond your fear and having the courage to see things differently, do things differently. Try it out things. Okay. So these are the 3 levels of deep listening: factual listening, that is open mind listening; empathic listening, open heart listening; and generative listening, that is open will listening. Thank you very much. Hope this is useful.